Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share something with you that has shaped the lives of the most productive, the most disciplined, and the most fulfilled people I've ever met. But it's also something that most people never quite give the respect it deserves. It isn't complicated, it doesn't cost a fortune, and it isn't something that requires genius or special talent. It is simply the power of a morning routine. Not the idea of waking up early just to say you wake up early, but the transformation that happens when you design the first hour of your day with intention instead of allowing life to drag you wherever it pleases. And to explain this power, let me take you back to a story. A story about a young man named Daniel, whose entire destiny changed not because he inherited wealth, not because he met the right people, but because he changed the rhythm of his morning. Daniel was like many people, full of dreams, full of plans, full of hope, but constantly running late for the future he said he wanted. He would wake up when the alarm told him to, and most mornings he would bargain with it as if the alarm were a negotiator. 10 more minutes, 5 more minutes, let me rest just a little longer. And by the time he finally got out of bed, the day was already ahead of him. The rush had already begun, and he spent his mornings reacting instead of creating. He would check his phone before checking his thoughts. He would chase noise before he chased clarity. And he wondered why his goals remained wishes and his ideas remained ideas. One day he went to visit an older mentor, a man who seemed to move through life with an unusual calmness, the kind of calmness that comes not from laziness or indifference, but from mastery. Mastery of his time, mastery of his habits, mastery of himself. Daniel asked him, "How do you stay so focused, so steady, so calm?" And the old man smiled, handed him a cup of tea and said, "If you want to master your day, master your morning. If you want to change your life, change your first hour. It is difficult to build a great life on a chaotic beginning." At first, Daniel didn't fully understand. He thought success came from big actions, big risks, big decisions. But the mentor explained, "The world will challenge you every day. The world will demand your attention, your energy, your strength. If you start the day empty, how will you stand? But if you start the day full of clarity, full of gratitude, full of discipline, the world becomes manageable. And not only manageable, but conquerable." So the mentor gave him a task. Not a complicated plan, not a rigid schedule, but a simple experiment. For the next 30 days, create a morning routine. Start with something that strengthens your mind, something that strengthens your body, and something that strengthens your vision. It does not need to be perfect, it only needs to be yours. Now, Daniel was skeptical, but he respected the old man, so he agreed. And the first morning he tried it, nothing magical happened. He woke up, he stretched, he read a few pages of a book, he walked outside for 10 minutes, he wrote down 3 things he wanted to accomplish. It felt calm, even pleasant, but no lightning struck, no sudden revelation, no secret doorway opened. But here is the beauty of a morning routine. Its power is rarely felt in the moment. Its power is accumulative, slow, steady, quiet, like the sunrise itself. On the 5th day, he noticed his thoughts were clearer. On the 7th day, he found he began speaking with more confidence. On the 10th day, he began approaching his work with more intention instead of panic. And by the 20th day, something remarkable began to happen. He began to trust himself. Because when you keep a promise to yourself every morning, you strengthen the most important muscle in success, self-respect. The mentor visited him on the 21st day and said, "Tell me, what have you learned?" And Daniel said, "I never realized that the first hour of the day can change the next 23. I never realized that I was starting every day as a follower of my phone, a follower of my mood, a follower of whatever the world threw at me, but now I start as a leader of my thoughts, a leader of my goals, a leader of my own behavior." The mentor nodded and said, "That is the gift of a morning routine. It teaches you that discipline isn't something you turn on when life gets difficult. Discipline is something you build quietly, consistently, every morning before the world wakes up." But Daniel's transformation didn't stop there. One morning, around the 30th day of his experiment, he sat quietly in his room after journaling, and something came to him. Not a thought, but a realization. He realized that he was no longer waking up to escape stress. He was waking up to create his future. He realized that a well-designed morning routine shapes your identity, and once your identity changes, your life must follow. Because if you start every morning deciding who you are, you no longer allow the world to decide for you. As the months went by, Daniel became more productive, not because he worked more, but because he worked with direction. He became healthier, not because he forced himself into difficult workouts, but because he built momentum through that first morning walk. He became more grateful, not because life suddenly became perfect, but because he began the morning by noticing what was good instead of what was missing. People around him began asking, what changed? They thought maybe he got a new job, a new opportunity. Maybe he received some secret advice that transformed everything. And Daniel would smile the same way his mentor smiled at him and say, I changed the morning, and the morning changed me. Let me tell you the truth. The morning routine is not about waking up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or any famous number that social media throws at you. It is not about following someone else's ritual like a script. It is about designing a beginning that honors the life you want to live. For some people, it's prayer or meditation. For some, it's exercise. For some, it's reading, journaling, planning, or simply sitting quietly long enough to hear their own thoughts again. Whatever it is, it must be intentional, because when the mind wakes with intention, the day obeys. Think of it like planting seeds. If you plant seeds of clarity in the morning, your decisions throughout the day become wiser. If you plant seeds of gratitude, your heart becomes lighter. If you plant seeds of discipline, your behavior becomes stronger. But if you plant chaos, the day returns chaos. If you plant distraction, the day magnifies distraction. If you plant laziness, the day multiplies laziness. Life is not mysterious. It is simply a reflection of the seeds you plant each morning. The mentor later told Daniel, most people dream of changing their life, but they ignore the part of the day where change actually begins. And he was right. Because the morning isn't a time of day, it is a ritual of becoming. It is the doorway between who you were yesterday and who you can be today. It is the quiet place where the world hasn't started talking yet, where you have the rare chance to speak to yourself first. And if you speak to yourself with clarity, courage, and purpose in the morning, the rest of the day falls in line like a well-trained army. Daniel's life eventually transformed, and not by a little. He became more successful, more disciplined, more focused, more fulfilled. But the most important change was internal. He no longer doubted his ability to direct his life because every morning he proved to himself that he was in control. And here is the moral. The lesson that his mentor wanted him to learn, and the lesson I want you to hear today. Your life does not change when you get lucky, when you get inspired, or when someone finally gives you permission. Your life changes the moment you take responsibility for your morning. Because the way you start the day determines the way you live the day, and the way you live enough days determines the life you ultimately build. If you want your life to be powerful, design a powerful morning. If you want your mind to be disciplined, design a disciplined morning. If you want your future to be extraordinary, let the first hour of your day honor the greatness inside you. And remember this, a morning routine does not give you more time. It gives you more life inside the time you already have. So tomorrow morning, before the world wakes up, take a moment. Choose who you want to be. Choose what seeds you will plant. Choose the routine that serves your future, not your comfort. Because the power of a morning routine isn't in the routine. It is in who you become by practicing it. And once you master your morning, you will never again let your day or your life run away from you.